sake of your filming? Oh dear.
Yeah, please.
Haven't you got a clip mic? Okay. No. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time and trouble to be here today. And I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful few days. It's my honour and my privilege to be here to talk to you about cybersecurity and the board. How many people sit on a board? One. Anyone else? Two. Three. Am I talking too quickly?
No. Most of us are.
Most of you. Okay, do you sit on a board? No. Right, I can pick you. You don't sit on a board. No, you don't sit on a board, right? You're the secretary of a board somewhere. Yeah? Yeah? You don't sit on a board. The reason why I'm saying that, and this is the important element of this, is this was made in Savile Row. These are English brogues. This is a posh tie. This is what people wear when they go to board meetings, right? And they look like aliens, right? This is what you wear when you feel happy. This is what I wear when I feel happy, right? This is comfortable, right? Do you like dressing like this? You do? Do you like dressing like this? Yeah? Some people absolutely hate it. But uniforms mean something. This is a uniform. This tells me, and it says to you what I am. And that's important. People make judgments based on how we look. And when we're going into a board level, because most of us will see people in boards that look like me, they might not talk like me, they certainly won't behave like me, but they will look like me. And so what we have to do is, unfortunately, these guys hold the purse strings. And if we want to get some money for our projects, or if we're a board member, and this is equally applicable, if we want to get something done, then we have to do the opposite. I have to talk to people like you, yeah, or you. And I'm dressed like this, and I'm thinking, now what do? Do I pretend to be cool? Yeah? Do I go and get myself a double espresso latte macchiato or whatever and sit down next to you and discuss something or other? I don't know. Because it's just as difficult for me to go that way as it is for you to go that way. And the essence of what we're trying to do this morning, or for the first session, is look at how we do that. Is look at how we break down those barriers. Look at the different levels of communication that exist across our organisations. Because if we understand how that works, then we can achieve our objectives about what we're setting out trying to do. And it works just as well in the military. Are you not military? Okay. You said naval. To me, that was either here or it was... Okay. But do you have a military structure? Okay. But I often find, I've worked a lot with the military, and they have a very different set of systems in the sense that you can get people who are in positions who don't really know much about what they're doing, if I'm being honest. Sorry, that rang a bell to a few people. But also, very few people know anything about cybersecurity. Right? So you've got that extra added bonus or that extra added challenge that says cybersecurity is a real issue. How do we deal with that? When we put cybersecurity on a board's risk register, does that make sense to anyone? Do you understand what a risk register is? More or less. Do you want to give us a go? No? This is what we have to be aware of as a board, what we have to take responsibility of. So suddenly, you're going to be on a board and they're going to say, you're going to do cyber and you're going to manage the risk register. Right? And what's he going to do? I'll tell you exactly what he's going to do. He's going to walk down to the IT department and say, you do cyber. Go away and sort cyber out. Right? He doesn't do cyber at all. He does IT security. He's probably very good at IT security. He doesn't know anything about cyber, Doesn't know anything about how it crosses the entire pan of the organisation, and yet he's burdened with it. Right? Have you been there? Yeah? Have you done there? Then he'll come back in a week and say, have you done cyber yet? Yeah? I want to tick a box when I go back to the board 3 months later with my board meeting. I want to be able to tick this box that I've done cyber. Marvellous now. Doesn't quite work like that. Doesn't quite get ourselves involved in that way. Am I speaking too quickly? Do you understand me? Yeah? That's a picture of me with me in it. Okay, is that all right? Yeah, you get two? Two for the price of one? That was in Tallinn, believe it or not. But this is a little bit about me. That's my company. And GCHQ certified. Now, have you heard of GCHQ? Who has not heard of GCHQ? Okay? Can you please resolve the following statement for me? We have adopted GDPR for data privacy in the world, and we have a £100 million listening centre called GCHQ that listens to the entire world's traffic down in Cheltenham, and both of those statements are supposed to fit together. You work it out, because I can't. But I am GCHQ certified. I do work quite closely with the National Cybersecurity Centre in the UK, and I do teach at 3 universities. So I am reasonably experienced at this kind of delivery in this sort of format. And these are the people that we work with. We're part of, has anyone heard of the Information Security Hub? It's a $1 billion project in Munich. I'm part of that, and I do the delivery there. And I can see some wonderful relationships developing between the aviation sector and the maritime sector, looking at how we could get partnerships together to do that. And I think that would be a wonderful way. And I've worked at various parts of all these different universities and so on. And this is what we're here to talk about, these two worlds colliding together. And what we have to do is we have to make, in the kind of extreme of this, make the technical world meet the managerial world and vice versa. And that's what our conversations are about today. And how do we manage to do that? How do we solve this puzzle? This is... Have I got a laser pointer? Could be. My God, I didn't know I had that. That's your typical geek, is it not? Your techie, sitting there, doing all these wonderful things. That's how people on the board may well see them. Yeah? So how can we do this? Now, the position that I'm going to take is the position of a techie going to a board and trying to extract some money for a project or resources or staffing. Whichever way round it comes, it always comes down to money. And if you can get that. So the first thing that will cause you any problems is when your language doesn't align. Okay? And what I mean by that is you're all very courteous and you're all allowing me to speak in English, which is useful because I don't speak any Romanian. But we are actually under a common theme. However, within inside organisational structures, you will find that the terminology used at different levels in the organisation are different. And this, I guarantee you, this will be equally as true in Romania as it would be in the USA or anywhere else. And that's why I say, you say tomato and I say salsa. Yeah? We've got very different approaches. This is what the technical world sounds like to people on the board. I just want to give you a little flavour of this.
For a number of years now, work has been proceeding in order to bring perfection to the crudely conceived
For a number of years now, work has been proceeding in order to bring perfection to the crudely conceived idea of a transmission
that would also be capable of automatically synchronizing cardinal grammeters. Such an instrument is the turboencabulator. Now, basically, the only new principle involved is that instead of power being generated by the relative motion of conductors and fluxes, it is produced by the modial interaction of magneto-reluctance and capacitive directance. The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panometric fan. The latter consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic marsal vanes so fitted to the ambifacient lunar wane shaft that side fumbling was effectively prevented. The main winding was of the normal Lotus O delta type placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator, every 7th conductor being connected by a non-reversible tremie pipe to the differential girdle spring on the up end of the Grammys. The turboencabulator has now reached a high level of development, and it's being successfully used in the operation of Nofer trunnions. Moreover, whenever a fluorescent score motion is required, it may also be employed in conjunction with a drawn reciprocation dingle arm to reduce sinusoidal repleneration. It's not cheap, but I'm sure the government will buy it. For a number of years now, work has been proceeding in order...
Does that ring any bells? Okay, when you say, who's a techie? Okay, one, where's the captain of the hacking? Oh, right, okay, good. Then you are slightly more than techie.
I do happen to possess a doctorate degree in mathematics and a master's degree in quantum physics. So
Is that all?
I happen to understand, no, there's another one in abnormal psychology. But, so I do happen to know exactly what they're talking about.
Hang on a minute, wow. Wow.
I do happen to know. Did you take that from Lockheed and Martin, by the way? Or
I think so, yes.
took it from Lockheed?
I took it from
I think
YouTube.
I saw it at MIT, but that's
Okay.
from back in the day.
MIT, name dropping.
And there was something else, though. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to mention something. At the point
Please do.
Where you brought up the subject of how do you identify somebody, and of course you brought this in the line of conversation along different lines altogether. From the perspective of an attacker, it's extremely important to identify who's who, because we usually go after those board members because they understand money. So if I go and I tell somebody I got Shell, and he's the CEO of somebody, he doesn't know. But if I tell him I'm able to read your email, he knows about it, right? There's another thing which I think it was worth mentioning, and I'm sorry once again.
No, this is interactive session.
For Multigo-like solutions. So Multigo-like solutions, what they do, they plot the different relationships from somebody in an organization in order to us to understand from the social engineering perspective who can we attack better. By color ID spoofing or whatever the case might be, or attacking their house first, right, and then mounting a man in the middle with their VPN or whatnot. But anyway, though, I didn't think interrupt. I thought I would add something.
You are adding some, and please, anyone else who feels free, please do. Multigo will go through on Wednesday when we're doing the social engineering stuff and looking at some of the tools that hackers would use to identify stuff like that. What? Okay, is anyone else techie? I can't believe there's only one techie person in the room. Yeah, two. No, I don't care about... All right, who knows what PHP is? Raise your hands if you know what PHP is. Okay, raise your hands if you know what a server is. You think I'm... No, right, okay. You think it might... What's a TCP/IP protocol? Does anyone ever heard of that? Okay, good. Anyone ever heard of C programming language? Yeah? DDoS? Yeah? MAC address? Yeah? You're looking very worried. Do you not know any of these? Or are you a bit shy? All these are alien to you, are they? That's fine.
He's a student.
Good. Well, welcome. It's a pleasure to see you here. These words that I've just mentioned, you go to a board and say, look, obviously your LAMP stack's not quite right. You know? Our Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP configuration needs updating to do X. Right? You've just spoken like that guy does. Right? You don't know it, but that's exactly what you've done. I'd like to take the other point of view now. I'd like to look at it from how the board may well speak. And I found several things, but I thought the next slide I thought was the most amusing in terms of this. This is a guy, and he's going to create a marriage proposal to his girlfriend. Very apt. And what he's going to do is he's in a restaurant. They're obviously both managers in an organisation. And I'd like you to just have a little listen to how they set about doing things. It's only a couple of minutes long.
Darling, there's a reason that I diarised tonight. Well, as you know, we've synergised effectively since FY13. We have met all our emotional KPIs and lately achieved best practice in the bedroom. But we have worked so hard on our future-proofing.
Gosh, Brad, are you...
We have blue-skied, streamlined, spitballed and actualised our core values in order to roll them out in real terms in and around the coalface. And yeah, okay, sure, we had to park this relationship, take it offline for a while you were outreaching in Spain with a Spanish bloke. Ricardo, I know. I thought we agreed to archive Ricardo. But going forward, I think we have a real opportunity to create a robust and sustainable narrative together.
Oh my God, Brad.
Jacinta, will you merge with me?
That is a very commercial offer. Let me marinate your value proposition and revert back to you by a close of play.
Okay. I'll go reheat the soup.
That'd be lovely.
Gazpacho.
If you are sick of hearing and using corporate jargon, then head to jargonfreefridays.com and take up the challenge. It's time to get real.
Why don't you just call me? We often use jargon in situations that we don't need to do it. And the board can be just as big a playground for meaningless management speak as the techies can be in terms of their ordinary techie speak. And if we want to bridge that gap and work together, then the key element that we have to do is KISS. Keep it simple. Stupid is the one I use, but up here it says simple. Keep it short and simple. Rule 1. The ability to be able to present your ideas in a cohesive manner is probably one of the most critical business skills you will ever develop. Unfortunately, it coincides with academic discipline and learning. Several people in here have got a PhD, right? How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay, so that's unusual. You don't normally get 5 people in a room with a PhD outside of academia. The reason why I'm mentioning that was, do you remember when you first wrote your first paper or your first thing and you handed it into your supervisor and they completely destroyed it, annihilated it and said your life's meaningless and you are useless and you will never write anything again? But that's exactly how you felt, right? Yeah? And that's because they were trying to apply rigorous thought to what you were doing. In fact, I will hazard a bet that many of you, after 1 year of doing your PhD, couldn't stand listening to other people talk. It would drive you mad because they couldn't phrase their thoughts correctly. Was that correct? Yeah? Did it drive you mad? Look at you. Yeah? You don't have to be shy in here. It's all okay. The reason why I'm saying that again is that we need to be able to take that skill and present it in a way that people understand it. So the first thing is we're going to need common language. The second thing is we're going to present it in a way that makes it not go on for several days. Keep it short. Avoid the use of jargon. We'll come back to that time after time after time. How many people have presented to a board? 1, 2, 3. Did you say, was that half a hand? Was it up or half up? Half up, okay. Which half of the board was it? Planning prevents panic. So, and this is important to remember because one of the illusions that you will have, and it is an illusion and it's also a fact, is that you believe these people don't have a clue what they're talking about. Why on earth are they there? I'm the one who runs this business. I'm the one who knows exactly what's going on here. And if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have anything in the first place. Who's ever felt like that? Yeah? I would suggest all of you. Yeah? Because I felt like that, haven't you? What does this bloke know? Why is he coming in here telling me things? Right? However, The board is often represented by people who are not directly tied to the business. Their role is something different. They might have a strategic aim in mind about where they're going. And one of the biggest, most advantageous things you can ever do is if you can get your project and their strategic aim to align, you will win. You will walk out with lots of money and pressure, but you'll walk out with money and people will say, wow, that's a really good idea. So we need to think about these things. So planning prevents panic. Who likes public speaking?
No.
No. Let's see, who else doesn't like public speaking? Oh, that would just be so cruel. I think you're quite good at it, actually.
A little.
Yeah, okay. But you can look around, you can see the fear in some people's eyes right now. Look, if you look in somebody in the green jumper over there, I think she might actually have kittens. Okay, you've got to get over that. The ability to communicate in a group is absolutely key. If you don't develop those skills, doesn't matter how... Well, actually, if you're really, really good, then they'll get somebody else to talk to you and translate it and then present it to you, if you're really, really good. This is how to earn 20... I don't know how many... Is it Lee over here? Lee? All right. This is how to earn 20,000 more pounds a year than your colleagues. Technobabble, blah, 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 blah. Management speak, blah, 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 blah. You'll get 20,000 a year more than most people, just on the ability to be able to do that. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree.
Okay. The captain of the hacking team agrees.
Yeah, well, we shouldn't enforce too much on that. There were some problems with the UK platform that we
Was there?
I personally corrected the cryptography problem. It was an RC4 cipher, and I wrote to the jury, so they said, well, they made a mistake where somebody got the points. I'm not going to say who.
Okay.
So there were a couple of discrepancies, but nonetheless, you're for a game, so hopefully they'll do better next time.
Did anyone pick any technobabble up in that? Yeah? The RC4 protocol, are you all familiar with that? Yeah?
Well, I was talking to you, I was addressing you, so obviously...
No, I'm just saying, but it's a very natural thing to do. By the way, I believe that in anything to do with the world of technology, if you make up a 3-letter acronym and say it with enough confidence, everybody will go, oh, yeah, a PQ4. Right? Just say it quickly, right? Everybody go, yeah. Right? Yeah? Because the one thing that I know about technology and the one thing that I know about this industry is you cannot know it all. Right? It's impossible to know it all. And that's probably the most valuable piece of knowledge you'll ever get, is that you don't know it all. This is their favourite. We want a roadmap. We want to know where we're going. Boards like things you can measure. Do not underestimate the value of a metric that says, at this board meeting I did this, and then when I come back to my next board meeting, my report said I did this, and we can tick another box. Right? That's their favourite. They understand that language. How you sit inside that is something that you'll have to do. Don't forget, the one thing that they're actually going to set out to achieve is making sure that their bottom line... Do you know what their bottom line is? Doesn't mean here, right? It means their profit margins are as good as they will ever be. You can have the slides, by the way. Okay, you can all have the slides. I don't mind. I'd like to keep this as open and friendly as possible. Although I've got more than 25 slides in my presentation, I would like to say to you, please keep your slides to the minimum. Now, if I was... Is it okay that I walk about so much? You're looking a bit stressed. Mr. Cameraman, am I all right? Yeah, okay, good. All right, he's looking a bit... I'm making him earn his money, I think. Yeah, I know. I can't help it, though. I get a bit excited. And you have to move about, don't you? I would normally say if you have a half an hour presentation, 10 slides. Maximum. Your slides, these slides, for me, are only ever a trigger for what's going on inside my head. I don't really read them. I don't really get involved in them. I just look at them and say, okay, that's what I need to talk about now. And people, I believe, can see that. Have you ever seen anybody who's read a slide in a presentation? Yeah. That was a bit of a a statement. Hands up if you've seen someone read a slide in a presentation or read several slides in a presentation. You're not going to put your hands up. Is this an anti-Romanian thing or something? Right? Okay, thank you. Right. Do you have confidence in that person? No. Because you just think, oh my God, they don't know what they're doing. They're reading the slide. Right? So don't read the slides. Yeah. Again, we're talking about some of the technical jargon that sits in there. Cybersecurity is full of the world of Armageddon, or a fire sale, to give it its precise words. Oh my God, if we don't do this, the world's going to end tomorrow. I'm not going to have X, Y, Z. And then, do you know what's going to happen? Those board members are going to go home and check their email and everything seems perfectly normal, and they're going to think you're a hysterical, crazy person. Because it's very difficult to feel the impact of cybersecurity issues unless it's actually happened to you. So it's an intangible. It's very difficult to show that. Now, there are certain metrics that we can use. For example, if you're a bank and you didn't have a firewall, you could show the loss of investment over so many years and so on. And there are metrics that we can use. And if anybody's interested, there's an excellent book on this called How to Measure Anything in Cybersecurity. And I would highly recommend that book to anyone. It takes a very different approach to how we look at things. If you don't have an Audible account, just get an Audible account, then you get the book free in a 30-day trial. And then, because I think it's quite expensive, 30 or 40 pounds. Hello, how are you? Have you joined us? Yes, sir. Wow. Oh yeah, you see, board stuff, all right? Are you a student here? Okay, can you not call me sir anymore? Okay, can you call me John? Yeah, is that okay? Fantastic. And what's brought you here? All right. Do you think that man's going to go far? Yeah? Yeah? I do, right? Because I put him on the spot, and he went, oh shit, sorry, oh dear. And then his brain went into gear, and suddenly he came out with all this lucid stuff that made sense, didn't it? Right? Very good. I'm impressed. So don't frighten boards. Okay? Having the doom and gloom scenario doesn't always work, because eventually they'll get bored of hearing it. And then, what have you got to say? Do you have the tale of the boy who cried wolf? No? Yes. Yeah? What's your view on this?
You know, I went through it so many times, but once again, you got to take into consideration the fact that I'm only into the civilian world for the last 4 years or so.
Okay.
So obviously, you know very well that when you're doing operational support to the government, you don't worry about stuff like that. But in the civilian world, I tackle myself in situations like that on various occasions. But you don't cry wolf, though. You present actual scenario, factual scenario. But it depends how you quantify and how you mitigate your risk factors, because you have to have a proper risk assessment. So, for instance, a bank in, I don't know, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, is definitely subjected to a different risk than a bank in Russia, and so on and so forth. Depends how deep you want to go. So that's why you describe it as concise as possible.
Do you agree? I'm going to agree. Yeah? No, it's very good. It's very good. Okay, don't forget, we have a centre here that will look at large-scale attacks and actually set those up for you if you want to. If you ever want to, this is a quick advertising plug, you know, like from our sponsors. All right, and this guy's got a wonderful centre. If you're a commercial organisation seeking somewhere to try out some of your risk-based scenarios, then you have an ideal opportunity to do it here, right in Constanza. I think that's pretty special, by the way. I also think, by the way, that's pretty special. I think it's really good that you have this facility here. And I think you should try and take advantage of it. And I really genuinely do believe that you could be world leaders in maritime cybersecurity. That's not a joke. I genuinely mean that that's the case. I think you've got a real opportunity here.
We are completely open to this approach.
Good. Excellent. We've got to do... Now you've got the honeypot. There we are. As a dual technical term, we'll get the bees, right? Yeah. If you have them, if you have the wonderful stuff. So let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this. Cyber security.
The bees is everywhere, fortunately for us, unfortunately for everyone.
Right. Do you think you've got the best... Do you think you're capable of being the best cyber security place in the world for maritime security? Quick quiz. Those who believe so, raise their hands. Creaky hands. 1.5, 2. I'm asking these people here right now. Do you believe in 3 years' time you could be the best cyber security centre in the world? Yes, and I think that. Do you know what the difference is? Some of you believe it. And that's the only difference. If you actually sat down and did this, because I can promise you now, I have seen the academic minds in the UK and I've seen the academic minds here, and yours are just as good, if not better. Your standard of education, learning, and your ability and your resources are as good as anywhere in the world. So there is no reason why not. How do you present cybersecurity to a board? Anyone ever been, in fact, next door, where our coffee is? Looks just like this, doesn't it? Anyone ever been in there? Anyone ever gone into one of these rooms and sat down? Yeah? Young man over there looking at your bag, do you own a suit? Do you own a suit? Okay, that's fine. You're allowed to get a pen. I didn't expect you to get a suit out of your bag. But I'm wondering if you owned a suit. Do you own a suit? No. Buy one. All right? I'm sorry to say it's BS, but it's BS, but it makes a difference. Do you think it makes a difference? Yeah, that's true. It depends. I would say in the UK for sure. Yeah? With a collar and a tie. Yeah? No. Because when you walk in there and they're all dressed like me, this is what we were talking about earlier, and you're in your really cool trainers that look amazing everywhere else, you're going to feel slightly awkward and embarrassed in there. Because you're kind of out of place. You go, oh dear, look at all these people all doing whatever and I'm not. Right? And what's going to happen at that point, if I'm brutally honest, is your inner fear is going to look at their outer confidence. And you know what's going to happen then, don't you? You're going to fall apart. It's not fair, I can't do this. Right? We need to get past all of that. We need to get past that level of fear in order to be able to do things. So how do we do that? Get to know your board members. Before these meetings and after these meetings, there will be an opportunity for you to perhaps, walk around the room and shake everybody's hand? Does that ring any bells? Yeah? Get to know people. Talk to them. Find out. You'll find out that most people are in fact not aliens. Yeah? Bizarrely. But if we get to know people and we understand a little bit about them, then you'll find that they'll be far more approachable. Once again, lose the technical terms. Hello. Lose the technical terms. It's a critical element that we do that because it's a very quick way to alienate people. Is it okay? Is it okay? Do you have to go? Okay. Okay, so are you going now? Very great pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for coming along. And we will see you again soon. Yes. There we are. I'm going to try. I need it. They're a tough crowd. I say, no, you're not. You're fine. Lose a technical term. Bring real-life examples. So you need scenarios that make sense to them in what they're doing. But it's easy to say, well, at the end of this, my server crashed. That's a real-life example. And they'll go, yeah. Yeah. If you say to them, oh, and by the way, we lost this much revenue because they couldn't access the stuff on this. Really? Oh, wow. Oh, so it costs money. All right, okay, so our business was disrupted. Our reputational damage had some impact. Oh. Then it starts getting different, doesn't it? Then people start believing and understanding because you place it in a language that they understand. So align it with that overall business strategy. Do you know what your overall business strategy of your organisations are? What's rule one of any commercial organisation? Who said that? You? Louder, please.
Make money.
Make money, is it not? Yeah? So anything that will enhance that or protect that or protect your ability to do that is going to be of value to that organisation. And if you detract from that in any way, then they're not going to be very happy about it. Focus only on what's important. We've talked about this. The fact that you had a real struggle configuring your web server because the Apache MySQL module just wouldn't work right and I just couldn't get that PHP to run, nobody cares. Right? Nobody, I promise you. Not even your best friend down the pub cares. All right? You've all been there then. You've all gone down the pub and gone, oh God, my MySQL module in Apache didn't work properly. Right? However, focusing on what's important, saying that this e-commerce system, for example, which is an example based on that, will give us the potential to increase our revenue by 25%, suddenly everybody goes, bing. Yeah? Are we okay, guys?
Yeah, we just have a chat.
I don't mind. I don't mind. Can I join in?
We are talking about the LAMP of the Aladdin, which is a Linux Apache MySQL.
PHP.
Yeah, and PHP. And also we are talking about vampires, which is VAMP, which is Windows Apache MySQL and PHP.
I thought you said vamp.
It's a LAMP. It's a VAMP.
My wife said, do not mention those over here. Right? It's Romania and it's Halloween.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that is the reason for the LAMP and for the WAMP.
The WAMP. True. All these different technology architectural stacks, yeah? Which most of you should be familiar with. Yeah? Say yes, John. This. Yeah? You just enjoy making me sweat, don't you? Yeah.
I'm learning stuff.
Okay, good. So only focus on what's important. That is, give them stuff in a language that they understand about outputs that they can see. And it sounds really, really obvious to do that, doesn't it? Why on earth am I saying something so blatantly obvious, and yet people don't? You will find that in presentations, people will talk about some of these other issues. And that detracts from your presentation and doesn't give you a good idea about what's happening. Does anybody know what a risk management approach is? Yes. Oh, wonderful. Yes. Would you like to comment?
Basically, there are some ways of managing risk. The whole point is when you send security to as a customer, which is your residual risk. So after you accept it, after you transfer it, yes, then what is your residual risk? This is a way of selling security.
Gold Star.
But
Star Baker.
actually to start calculating the residual risk,
Yep.
it's quite hard. And if you want to do it as a consulting job, you can stay there 1 year and calculate the residual risk.
Okay.
But on the other hand, I wanted to ask you something. You mentioned about return of investment.
About what, sorry?
It's the last one.
Oh, yeah, well, I haven't got there yet.
Okay. Normally, security business cases are not necessarily based on return of investment.
Correct.
So,
Well, you want me to explain or?
No, I thought we might follow the slides, if that's all right. And then once we get down there a bit, we'll have a go. But yes.
Probably expecting them in modeling, so they will keep it in mind like
Explain to him.
to do like exactly what he said.
Return on investment.
So basically, if you demonstrate that by implementing a new program, you're diminishing this much risk, you're hedging this much risk, this how much increase on investment you have. So therefore, you have
All reputational damage.
reputational damage is another aspect.
Yeah.
Obviously, obviously.
It's about the measuring risk because of certain investment which brings money. And this is why we mainland this, because I know a lot of chief security officers trying to get budgets.
Yes.
It's quite.
Yes. So it's a case of, if we don't do this, X, Y, Z is going to happen. No. That's the case, right? That's what you're saying. I know. No, but I'm saying, yeah. So how do you get a return on investment in terms of cybersecurity? Well, fortunately, we have a lot of stuff around now on compliance, which means that we don't have to worry too much about that, because somebody up there somewhere said, unless you do the following, we're going to give you a fine. 27,001, for example, the NIST directive, so on and so forth.
It's okay, so he's with me. He steals things. It's a cyber operation. It's
Okay.
undercover.
Okay. Okay, if you want to. Looks like you've got a microphone. Sure. Okay, so yeah, a return on investment is very difficult to do, but I think one of the key areas that we have to take on board before we get to that, and the reason why they're in this order, is that, to a board member, do you think cyber is a technical issue? They actually view it as a risk. It's a risk management issue. Yeah. How you manage risk in multiple arenas. And if you take it from that perspective, then you can start to look at what happens if you don't. And again, there are ways of doing that that will allow you to make it not sound like every time I walk in the room, it's going to cost you money. Right? Isn't it? They'll go, oh no. Yeah. $4 million firewall coming up right here now. Right? But don't you think a CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, has a wider remit than that? Aren't they in fact business enablers? Aren't you supposed to go to an organisation and when they say we're going to do X, you don't say no, you say yes, but this is what we need to do in order to make that happen. These are the risks that are faced within that environment. And if you place it in terms of risk, they understand risk very well, because they have risk in lots of other ways that they do things, in terms of how they manage money and how they enter new markets and so on and so forth. So there isn't a panacea answer that says this is the wonderful way that we can get a return on investment. But there is a way of saying that we can use technology to enable our businesses in a secure and safe manner that will allow us to grow our business. And by doing that, they should be convinced. You're not, are you?
I'm convinced. I know what is happening in practice.
You know what is happening?
Let me tell you one thing.
In the microphone. This is what we need. Interactive workshop.
Speaking about risk, GDPR, when people are looking now at GDPR, all the requirements there were requirements in terms of privacy even before GDPR coming into force. Yeah. The only thing that GDPR brought on the table was, the big possible, big fines and so on. But everything else, in terms of, things that the company needs to do, were there already. Mm-hmm. Now, when risk came, what happens if, and nobody really knows how fines will be, because there is no practice into it. But, it's not like coming with a risk approach, you solve it everything at once. That's what I saw, at least.
Apologies for wandering around with the microphone, causing you a bit of frustration on the camera there. He was going. He couldn't see you. The risk-based approach creates a language that people understand, and commonality in language is always a good hurdle to cross. Will it solve all of the issues? No. Are you always going to be the person, the Mr. Doom and Gloom, with the expenditure? It's going to be difficult. I agree, it's a real challenge. But I think we have to look at CISOs in a way that the professionalism of CISO and the way in which they're placed within the organisation has to change. For example, if my technology worked, oops, let's go back here. See that seat there? That should be the CISOs. There shouldn't actually be any differentiation between the board and the techies. Average CISO, how much do you think they earn? Pounds? I don't know, whatever. No? Okay. You could... Oh, yeah, but above that, a CISO.
Oh, a CISO in the UK probably tops about... No, I wouldn't. Probably like about 100K a year.
100 to 150.
That's what I mean.
Yeah? I know people who earn more than that. But, yeah, around that sort of level. Those sorts of figures. That's because they can sit there and talk that.
Are they actually allowed them?
Well, yes. It depends on the organisation, doesn't it? Depends on the organisation and how flexible and willing they are to adopt and change. Yep. How many do I know? A few. Not all. A few. Higher than that. 30, 35% in the UK. Yeah? The UK, I can only comment on the UK. What about here? Zero. Okay, so you have some evolution to go through then, right? Yeah? Okay, well, okay, so between 0 and 5, they're both doom and gloom. Yeah? Help. The important element of that, just for the record, by the way, and my colleague here will agree with me, I hope. Before we're going to stop and have a little coffee break in a minute, but I just wanted to say, how many people here have got building control people sitting on their board or on their senior management team? How many people control the heating and lighting of their buildings? Do you have heating and lighting people here, head of maintenance people? Yeah? Yeah. Who controls these? Who controls this? This, the air conditioning, the heating, the lighting, the lifts. Right? Do they report to the Chief Information Security Officer? No, because years ago somebody thought it was a really good idea that we were going to put all this stuff on a network because it makes it much more efficient to manage. And all of these SCADA systems, are you SCADA or SCADA? SCADA. Supervisory control and data acquisition systems are now running around on our networks unsecured. That's a major problem. And you can actually identify through the hierarchy of an organisation how you can hack it. If you look at who's head of building control, building and maintenance, and you look at who's head of IT, and if they're equal on a board, right down the middle of there, you can hack them. As simple as that, because nobody's got responsibility. Is that true? Yeah. On that wonderful thought, let's have a quick cup of tea, coffee, and then we'll be back in about 10 minutes, okay?